Hey guys, so welcome back to Indirect Knowledge. So today we've got a very special tarot card reading, and this is for Christina. Seems like things are going really good for Christina so far right now. She's met someone and she's with someone, and she just would like to know what the universe thinks about him and her and everything. Right now, her family seems to like him a lot, and she just wants to get some confirmation and things and find out, just kind of how things are going. So that's going to be what we're doing now. All right. So for this, I like to do kind of like I do a 3-card spread, but this is kind of a different type of tarot card reading because we're talking about the universe or God or our higher self or, you know, um, getting information, kind of validation for being with someone. And so I like to look at kind of the past, present, future. And I also like to see if the approval is there or not. And so we do that with sort of the question. Uh, so it's sort of like it's 3 cards, but it actually each card has multiple representations. So I'll show you kind of what I mean here in a second. So okay, so in this uh, in this spread, the first card that we have is the Ten of Wands. So Ten of Wands can sometimes feel like we're carrying a heavy burden, as the card sort of indicates there. And it's not that we're not being proactive or that we're not taking action and doing things. That's actually that we're taking too much action or we're doing too much in a certain direction often. And so by the time, and you think of it also sort of as like a timeline here, because by the time you get to 10, we start with like the Ace of Wands and then the Two of Wands and Three of Wands and Four of Wands and Five of Wands. See, it's kind of a journey. By the time we get to this Ten of Wands, it's sort of, we're nearing the end of the journey and it's going to be time for us to maybe start something new. But before we actually complete that journey and fulfill our goal, that type of thing, by that time we've collected so much and we've invested so much and put so much energy and effort into it that it's sort of weighing us down a little bit. So sometimes we can feel like, even with relationships or life in general, that we're just feeling a little bit weighed down a little bit, a little carrying too much on our shoulders, and sometimes we just need a little bit of relief. Thing is this kind of a situation is kind of one of those situations where we just tend to feel um, like we're about to finish, we're about to get there. So it's just kind of like hanging there just a little bit longer. It's kind of got that kind of energy to it. Now the and tens, of course, in numerology, in the tarot is usually kind of an in-between period between like endings and new beginnings. We have the kind of just sort of like that in-between period, like we're getting ready to start something new, but we're not quite there yet. So now to kind of give you some insight. So this is the past. So this card right here is sort of the past card, and it's kind of like where we've sort of been at. So we've perhaps Christina's maybe felt a little bit weighed down or a little bit heavy burdened with things going on in her life. Maybe there's just kind of taken too much on, or just like might need a break from things. Things have just kind of, it's like taking on too much responsibility or too much action. Not that we don't enjoy it. It just means that maybe we've just, we're not allowing ourselves enough time for some more pleasurable pursuits or more time to do other things that we enjoy as well. Take a little break from the day to day, wind and grind, that kind of thing. So that's for the past. Now, as far as the validation part goes, it's sort of like, it doesn't really kind of more or less give us a clear answer. It's sort of like we're working in that direction. So it's kind of like the universe is kind of accepting things, but just also kind of noticing, hey, you're putting quite a bit into this relationship and that. So what's the next card? So the next card we have is the present moment, and we'll look and see kind of the validation on this as well. So again, kind of multiple meanings here, dual meanings that we're looking at. So we have the Eight of Cups. Okay. Now, 8 in numerology is very often about the groundedness or the material world. And in this case, with relationships, it is kind of, as Christina's indicated, things are pretty good, like as far as stability goes. Yeah, it's pretty much there. You'll also notice the moon here in this reading and stuff. And the moon, of course, this is sort of like that twilight period where we're just kind of, going off, getting a breath of fresh air, kind of going it alone, kind of doing our thing. The moon, though, is very much kind of like, you know, it's about intuition, and it's about trusting our higher self or the universe to provide for us or to bring into our life, exactly what it is we need and exactly, what will bring us the greatest happiness or the greatest joy. Sometimes we can have everything seemingly okay, but and most people would give their you know their right eye for, so to speak. So it's like other people looking at your situation may be very jealous of what you've got, like this relationship. It could be other people looking at it would be like, oh wow, this is pretty good guy, it looks like you guys are doing pretty well, everything is pretty good. But with this particular card, and you notice the person in the backdrop kind of like walking away, even though everything is stable. We have the stability from the 8. And we're talking about relationships, we're talking about cups, and we're talking about emotions and feelings, also cups. We're talking about things kind of below the surface, things that we can't really articulate so well. We have the moon. We have the person that's walking away from it all. We have the water, which is unconscious and, symbolic of that. So, what exactly is going on with this card in the present moment? Well, it really gives us kind of an insight or a clear picture into kind of what's going on with Christina in this relationship and everything. And what it basically says, when this card normally comes up in a tarot card reading, it's because we are, from the outside looking in, it would seem like everything is great, but there's still that part of us that just, we're not really satisfied, and other people looking at our situation may be like, how can you not be satisfied? Like, how can you not just stay in that situation? Or how can you just not be like completely good with everything? But sometimes it's at the unconscious level. Like there's just some kind of unconscious disconnection here. And it causes us to just kind of like not be so attached to the situation because maybe there's something more important to us, something deeper within us that we're really yearning after, we're yearning for. And all of this is sort of like keeping us from that. And it's something that maybe most people wouldn't necessarily understand. Maybe we don't always necessarily understand it, but we can feel it, we can sense it, we can experience it inside of us as sort of that disconnected feeling. And we're not always really sure exactly what to make of it. We don't know how to feel about it. And that's really what's going on in the present moment with this. So, like mom and dad sees this guy as a really nice guy. The guy's probably a genuinely nice person, probably got good energy. I'm picking that up. And he's probably pretty good. But, we don't know why. We can't really articulate or put our finger on it. But inside of us, it's sort of like, yeah, I should be happy with this. This is, I should be satisfied. But there's a part of me that's sort of still not really on board with it all. And so, I'm kind of looking at other things or putting my focus into other directions. And that's that. And so, what do we really make from this is that, yeah, it's not like it's more about Christina than it is about the guy. And it's what the universe is actually saying. And it's a message that sometimes we have to really be still, meditate, focus in order to really understand it or to really get it. Because most of the time, I would probably say like the vast majority of the time, people are very oblivious to what the universe really has in store for them or God or their higher self or so on and so forth. And the message normally, typically, is a spiritual message. We see a lot of spiritual overtones with that card, like a lot of messages in that pursuit. A lot of it's that intuition or that trusting ourselves. And so it's almost like we can have everything in life. We can have the best life, everything is good, but there's that inner part of us that's yearning for something else, like a spiritual connection or And so all those things that most people would prize and be attached to, we're feeling less and less attached. It's like if you're a person and maybe you grew up with a lot of money, and so money doesn't really have the same kind of value that it would to someone that had no money growing up or that was very poor. If they ever come upon a little bit of money or something like that, it would probably be a little exciting for them. Whereas the person that always had money, yeah, it's just money. Like there's an indifference to it. That's kind of like this. Like with this relationship, it's like everything could be really great, but my higher self or the universe is calling me to be, to go live a more spiritual life and to follow this other pursuit or this other path. And so I'm conflicted. I don't know, like maybe I should do this or maybe I shouldn't do this. But sometimes we'll stay in a situation until which time it just, and then other times we'll make a decision and just move on and beyond and go beyond that. The universe is always talking to us. It's just, are we listening? Are we paying attention? And do we trust God or the universe to deliver for us the goods? Sometimes it feels good to be in a safe situation, in a situation where we have people that love us and care for us. And it seems like, we're doing exactly what would create a solid, stable foundation for ourselves, our family, and so on. But yet there's that part of us that if we stay in that situation, will be, we'll feel some kind of a um, cognitive dissonance, like it's not the right choice for us. And so we have to make that decision, even though other people may look at us and wonder what's going on with us or judge us or berate us, whatever the case happens to be. It's still that yearning within us, and we have to trust that and honor that. It's not always an easy situation to be in when you have everything, and yet you're not so attached to it all, and you're feeling like you should leave it behind. So in this, so we're seeing kind of a sign here that the universe is really saying no. Something else is, we need to follow our dharma, our path, um, and this isn't it. So the last card that we have is um, the High Priestess. This is an interesting card to come up in this reading. We've just talked a lot about our intuition and trusting ourselves and the universe and putting our faith in all of that. The High Priestess, now, she doesn't say a whole lot, but what she does say speaks mountains and mountains of volume. Uh, and it's something that is really, it's just like I was saying before, like sometimes the universe is trying to talk to us, but we're turning kind of a deaf ear to it. And, or maybe we're listening, but just a little bit. The universe sometimes doesn't always come out so directly and push us in a direction. Sometimes it does. And in those times, we'll see cards like the Tower come up and things like that, where it's sort of like the universe is saying, okay, you haven't listened to me. You haven't really paid attention to the signs. You're ignoring me. I got to make something happen. I really have no other choice but to put you in a situation, to put you in this direction that's more uh, better for yourself, your spiritual higher well-being. The High Priestess here, she whispers very quietly. She says, "Trust your intuition." She's one of the most intuition oriented. She's the most psychic card in the deck, and we see, the moon, which is of course that mystery, the great mystery. Um, as a monk, we chant different texts like Rahasya Namasastra. It's like 1,000 secret names, or something like that. And these are 1,000 secret mantras that we might recite or chant. So we see these kind of things, and we have the Torah here, and then we have this here, which is about stability and being in the middle of things. And then we have the two, and the two is symbolic of relationships, and that's what we're kind of talking about here. But two is also symbolic of balance, it's having one on one side, one on the other side. So sometimes it's about like maintaining our life without giving up everything and, completely going alone and, letting everything out of our life go. But it's really about keeping sort of this balance. It's a spiritual balance though. And it's a balance of, you know, sometimes in life, we're really motivated in a very materialistic, um, a material driven direction. And then other times in our life, we're more propelled by a spiritual direction, a spiritual yearning, things on that end. And so we're kind of more called in that direction. And the universe is just really asking us, are you going to follow that material path, or are you going to follow this path? You know, are you going to go in this direction or in that direction? Do you want a more modern approach? Do you want that traditional approach? So we have a lot of these things where it's all about kind of keeping a balance and all. So now this is like trusting yourself. And that's what the High Priestess is really all about. She's a very psychic card, and she really wants our the best for us. But it's sort of like, trust your intuition about it. And so kind of the answer we get with this particular card is about, trusting ourselves, like, really paying attention and listening so that we get what we're supposed to be getting. So if we go back to the beginning here, we had the heavy burden, the things that were just kind of going on in our life that was just kind of weighing us down, and so on and so forth. So we see sort of this, it's kind of like we're in this situation, but we kind of want it to, we're waiting for it to kind of phase itself out, or at least for something else to open up so that so we can move in a different direction and maybe get a little relief from that. That's what was going on. Now, we've gotten pretty much everything, but yet spiritually we felt it's sort of a disconnection, and now it's time to move more and toward our higher good, our spiritual better good. And so the universe is wanting that for us. And then finally, it's about the universe saying, trust yourself, trust your intuition. Don't give in to fear. Don't give in to doubt, disbelief, hesitate. Don't hesitate, basically. In other words, we know that you're kind of feeling like you should do something, yet you haven't yet. And you're just like kind of trying to play it safe. The universe is saying, trust yourself, let go of your critical thinking, trust that things are going to work out, and they will. And but it's sort of like a test of your ability to do that. Are you willing to let go? Are you willing to move in a different direction? Are you willing to trust your higher self to provide? And, if that's the case, if you really mean that, the High Priestess is saying, trust that, because it's going to work out. Everything's going to be good for you. And it will. And I'm picking that up also. So, that's what the cards tell me. That's what I pick up intuitively. I really hope this helps you on some level. If you do need more help, or if you do need more direction, or you have questions or anything about the reading, or anything in general, or you need spiritual direction or anything like that, all of my details and everything are below in this description below this video. And that goes for any of you guys watching. If any of you guys, find yourself in a situation similar to Christina, or maybe it's a completely unique and different direction, please reach out to me. I'd love to be able to help you at any given moment. Anyways, guys, thanks for tuning in. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel. Please like the video, of course. Please hit that bell notification so that when we come on, you guys can jump in the chat. If you have questions or something, reach us live. It'd be great for that. If you guys would like to tip me or give a donation, you're welcome to do that also. The information, everything, again, is in the description below this video. Thanks for tuning in. Much love and many blessings. See you guys on the next episode of Indirect Knowledge.